Welcome. I was trying to think of a way to express my love of design and building and thought narrating my structural engineering portfolio, which I did the production work on, would be the perfect way to do this. In a little over a year, I was able to put over 1.14 million square feet of floor under roof. That is a lot. We weren't able to find any other recent graduates that had put that much steel up. And so it's something that as someone that loves to build, I was very proud of, and I know my former firm was as well. Just before we start, there's a couple housekeeping things. The top number you see is the number of model elements, and the bottom number you see is the square footage. If you'd like to know more about me, there's a link below in the description. So with the first building, I wanted to introduce sort of our office workflow. The engineer would be responsible for all the calculations and specifications, which would leave me in charge of the production drawing. That's all the graphical renderings, so a whole bunch of collaboration and coordination, and also any issues of constructability. The second building was a project I joined in progress. It was a very complex model and was an excellent platform to start practicing my excellent attention to detail, as I found different conflicts to bring to the engineer's attention to be addressed. It was also a good chance to start leveraging the power of BIM. Remember, there was a conflict with one of the details, which means that we had to switch out a beam type out of the entire project. And I was able to do this accurately and comprehensively with my knowledge of BIM. And so it's always great to be able to utilizing those tools to keep the project moving forward. Building number 3 was huge, but it also had many unique structural conditions that had to be addressed in construction details, and all that needed to be tracked. BIM is the perfect platform to capture all this information and keep the project moving forward. So on building 4, it was a good chance to start introducing more advanced parameterization into the models. In this particular model, we had parapets, glazing supports, roof and columns, and also the trusses all parameterized, and this made adapting to changes later in the project much easier. With building 5 and 6, I wanted to focus on why structural engineering is so core to the practice of architecture. Often the structure of a building interacts in very complex ways with the function of a building, and the superstructure often is a very high proportion of the final budget. So that means getting the structure right can really add value to a building. Building 7, we used A360, and I really like using the live model, but you definitely have to recognize certain complications that come with that technology. This was a funny project because the architectural firm kept on moving exterior finishes into structure elements. And so we had to sort of problem solve these. I never got bent out of shape. I always worked in the service of my team and our other partners to keep the project moving forward. So number 8, I remember I did some really beautiful stair sections for this building. I couldn't bring it with me, unfortunately, but I love the challenging geometry, I love the density of the annotations, and I love the challenge of getting it all perfect. So with building 9, I wanted to remind viewers that this really was a team effort. Over a long enough time period, there's always people coming in and out of these projects. I might be busy with another one, and someone has to go in and check something or change something and get it out to the field again. And so it's always important to have a very team-focused attitude. I didn't get bent out of shape if someone was questioning my work and I had to explain myself. I was just always happy to be of service and support my team. So building 10 was, again, quite big, but there's a story that comes with it. It just again shows the power of BIM. A very forlorn engineer came over to me and admitted that I needed that some foundation walls needed to be run down. There's just been a small error, we'd caught it. These things happen, not a big deal. But he thought he was giving me a whole morning worth of work to do. But because I had properly parameterized the model and understood how it was going to behave, I just a couple keystrokes and changed everything right in front of him. The plans got updated, the details got updated, everything got updated perfectly and comprehensively, and I just remember his jaw dropped to see how quickly these changes can be made when you really come at this stuff intelligently. So 11, 12, and 13 all have these roofs at an angle, and this is something that I had noticed when I was working on these models, that the previous technician that was no longer at the firm had painstakingly modeled them point by point by point by point, and it allowed no adaptability and no parameterization at all when changes were made. It just made everything very chaotic. So I spent time just completely redoing those pitches to planes, and so when we had changes later in the project and the architect was moving those planes up and down, it was just super easy for the structure to follow. We didn't even sweat it. And so again, it's always about leveraging this technology to work efficiently and powerfully to build lots. So number 14 was great. There were some late changes that the production team got to sweep in and be heroes. I love the hustle. I love trying to get that perfect set of documents out on time, and this was just a really sweet spot where we were able to save the day. So to keep things moving here, 15, 16, and 17 are rather simple buildings. Many people get romanced by high design, high concept architecture. I have no shame. I love building. I'll build boat launches, I'll build warehouses, I'll build strip malls, dog houses. I take great joy in being of service to my industry and my community, and I just love my job. So with Building 18, I also had the pleasure of introducing building information modeling to the firm's structural wood framing program. In this building, we had to create a whole bunch of custom families that had very particular cut patterns to follow the Canadian drafting standards for this type of construction. So with this type of problem solving, you have to be very comfortable with high levels of uncertainty and ambiguity because there's nobody really to follow, and not everybody's sort of comfortable in that position, but I thrive in it. So buildings 19 and 20 are absolutely massive, and I think we calculated out, with the exception of the interior columns, the original flight of the Wright brothers could have occurred inside. There's lots of repetitive detail, but it's important that along these long spans, there's actually quite a lot of specific engineering going on that changes subtly, and you have to be bringing your A game to get these documents out as perfect as they need to be. So with number 21, I wanted to stress that even though these models look awesome, it's the construction details that get things built, and that's where my real pride and joy lays. I love the skills of actually understanding how a building is put together. So the final building, building 22, I remember there was a big hustle in the morning. I think we had other buildings going out that day. And again, it's all a matter of cultivating that attitude of wanting to be of service to your teammates, of wanting to support your teammates, that keeps these projects moving forward. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Again, if you'd like any more information on me, there's a link below in the description, and remember to please build.